Damn, man.
I'm working on it, Mike. Good
All
evening,
right.
ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for chiming in, and welcome to the Reset. It's my podcast. Premiered last week, and this week I think I got a good show for everybody. This week, show titled "Coronavirus: Pressing the Reset Button" Part Two. The Entrepreneurs. This week, I thought that I would take a chance to talk to some sole proprietors, entrepreneurs, business people who have been affected by the COVID-19 virus like the rest of us. Hoping that everybody is still sheltered in place. Hoping everybody is taking all the necessary safety precautions that they're taking, wearing your mask, having your gloves, using that sanitizer, washing your hands above anything. Um, but yeah, I thought that I would take some time today to talk to some of those who are job creators, sole proprietors, to see how they've been affected by the coronavirus. And today, I have three friends of mine. Each person is sole proprietor, business people. They've been in business for a while. And without further ado, I would like start with Mr. Yarborough. Why don't you introduce yourself to the out there?
My name is Robert Yarbrough. I have four separate businesses. Um, and I know Andre from school and from the community here in west of Chicago. Uh, my businesses are as follows. I own restaurants. I do I do real estate development. I own a car business, and oh God, what else do I do? Oh, I own a cleaning company. A cleaning company. I'm sorry. Which has been most affected actually by the coronavirus. Actually, they all have been affected.
All right then.
So yeah, it's been interesting to say the least.
I can imagine. I can imagine. All right. Our next guest in line, Miss Mocha.
Can you still hear me?
Oh, yes, we can. Yes, we can. We can still,
Okay, I can barely hear you guys, but okay.
Miss Mocha, if you will,
Hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second. I'm
please introduce us. Introduce
All
yourself.
right. A lot of people know me by Monica Tucker. I just go by Mocha. Mocha Enterprises is the name of one of my businesses. I have three different companies. One is Mocha Enterprises. We do a little bit of everything, including um, publishing and coaching. And I also have a business that's somewhat like publishing, but we do a lot of coaching for military spouses and families here on the border in El Paso, Texas. So I've been in business for almost 30 years here in El Paso since 96.
Okay, very good, very good. All right, and last but not least, my man Mike Spiker, introduce yourself, my brother.
Hey, how y'all doing today? This evening. Happy Easter to you. If you're enjoying it. My name is Mike Spikner. I'm an independent contract truck driver. Been in business for myself since 2002. And that's pretty much all I do. I don't have any other businesses there. So I'm pretty much, in the industry. And as you can see what's going on, I'm affected by it. Now I am really, so, let's go ahead and elaborate on it.
All right. Well, very good. And thank you again, for you guys, being part of the podcast this evening. I greatly appreciate that.
Thank you for having us.
No problem, no
Thank you.
problem, no problem. One of the purposes I wanted to have this podcast was to give voice to regular class working black folks in America. The media tends to have a stronghold on our image and they control our narrative in most cases. And in the media, the most negative aspects of our culture are most often promoted. And so therefore I think it oftentimes gives a warped sense of who and what we really are all about. Um, that's just what I am. I just want to give voice to just everyday everyday folks, to show others that we're no different than anybody else. We're going to work every day like everybody else. We're dealing with this coronavirus just like everyone else, and so yeah, let's get into it. Got a few questions for each of my guests tonight. Um, First question, I think I'm going to start with Mr. Mike Spiker on this one. For you, being a truck driver, how has the pandemic affected your business, or has it?
Well, honestly, up until like about 3 weeks ago, I wasn't really worried about it because I do a lot of specialized freight. I don't do van freight and like a lot of household stuff like food. Everybody's going crazy over the toilet paper and everything. I don't do that kind of stuff. I do mostly like uh steel coils, machinery, dyes, and a lot of specialized stuff. And there for a while, I was just like, oh, this is, I should be okay. In all, there still is some moving out there, but actually, it has kind of flowed over into my industry now because there for a while I was doing running steel out of Ohio here up to Toledo, and with them being a automotive, you know, manufacturer, it pretty much when they shut all that down, it hurt my pocketbook a little bit. I wasn't on it particularly much, but even still, when you start having other flatbed companies, shut down, they start maneuvering around. And even with that being said, the rates, you think with all this going on that the rates would be up, and the rates aren't. The rates I've been taking a beat here probably for about 2 years now. It's really hit and miss, and I really consider getting out of it. But all in all, this really has really flowed into the flatbed industry, which has nothing to do with everyday general people as far as keeping the stores full. But when they started shutting down all those, you wouldn't think that they would shut down some of these places. But considering that it's kind of almost like a domino effect to a point. And right now I'm okay. Believe me, I'm okay. I can sit for another 2 weeks and not have to worry. Do I want to? No, I don't want to. I'd rather get back out here and go to work. But, you know, I'm just really, just wondering how far are we going to go with this? I know a lot of people are really wanting to push the button here and say, hey, let everybody go back to work because there is a lot of money out here right now that's being lost. And believe me, I know what they're thinking. But, me personally, I'm okay. But I also see some of my fellow truck drivers who are being laid off, and I haven't seen that. I've been doing this on my own since 2002, and I haven't seen truck drivers get laid off. So this is
My
something new
great
to me.
jacket.
Okay, then. Wow. I can imagine, Mike. Next in line, Miss Mocha. Same question. How's the pandemic affecting your business, or has
Um, well, it has affected it in some ways with some clients. Again, I have about three different businesses, so a couple of them are pretty much affected because I usually meet with clients and I do a lot of social media management and coaching for some clients, and their business is shut down.
That's
So
Leah. That's Leah.
obviously, um, they right now they don't have a need for my services, but I'm still helping them, and I do websites also, so I make sure that I keep their stuff up to date, whether they can pay me right now or not, because eventually they'll bounce back.
it?
But it has affected me. It has affected me in trying to secure new clients also because some of them, they may not go back into business. Some of them have already stated that they probably won't open back up. So I kind of depend on those who have had to close down in some parts of the business, but in other areas, um, my business is still going pretty well.
All right, all right. Mr. Yarborough, same question. How has the pandemic affected your business, if it has at all?
It's affected a few of my businesses to the extreme. Um, and my cleaning business, it's actually brought more clients to what we do. Our services are provided to churches and commercial properties, so they've been asking for us to come in and sanitize and sterilize according to the CDC standards and things like that. And it's, it's brought more business in that way. But in my restaurant business, for example, I've got 3 build outs that I'm doing. And to explain what that means is I've taken buildings or land and building a restaurant from the ground up or gutting a restaurant and to look at the numbers to so that it makes sense to what I'm talking about.
Okay.
I don't have any other income other than what it is I do for business, which is what I've always done.
Right.
So I've got a restaurant in Plainfield that costs $1.3 million, the building. I've got a restaurant in Oswego that costs $1.6 million, the building. I got a restaurant in Naperville, Aurora area that costs $1.6 million. And then I proceeded to stagger them in order to build on momentum, okay, and solidify my demographics. So what I did was I went to Oswego, which was going to be the first one to open, and we spent quite a bit of money. You spend $385,000, $400,000 to do a build out with the expectations that these things are going to come back in.
Right.
Now, I say all of that to say this: that's money going out until you do your final inspection from the health department, until you do your final inspection from the state of Illinois and the city for mechanicals, until you get that license to actually produce food and sell it, you've got no money coming in. Okay. So in my case, I've got the same expenses as other businesses that are currently producing. I still have to pay insurance. I still have to pay mortgage. I still have to pay lights, gas. I still have to pay, as Monica was talking about, I still have to pay for websites and hosting and security, because God forbid somebody breaks in and takes everything out of there.
Sure.
On top of that, I'm buying 15, 20 TVs for the place, and I can't stop. I can't just say, okay, I'm not going to work. My work is I'm spending money, but I'm not getting any money back in.
Okay.
And for the car business, it's completely shut down because I sell cars abroad.
Yeah.
We sell cars overseas, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, China, Russia. And that ended before all of this. It was like, hey, it's a shutdown, everything stopped. You can't do anything. I have cars sitting at the port. To give you an idea about what that looks like, if a client says, hey, I want this car, and they're from overseas, they send a deposit. They don't send the entire amount of the car, or they do a letter of credit, which means you're not getting that cash in your pocket, spendable cash, until the deal is done. It's an escrow.
Okay.
So you go out and you buy a $125,000 car. You spend money for it to be stored. You spend money for it to be shipped. Mr. Michael Speichner, I'm sure you understand how much it costs to ship a car from Illinois to Texas. One of the ports are in Texas. One of the ports is in Virginia. One of the ports is in New Jersey. I'm shipping 5 cars that each cost $120,000, $110,000 to the port, and now I've got to pay port fees for those cars. I got $500,000 of cars, and that's only 5 cars sitting at the port. I'm paying port fees, and there's no telling when that's going to be able to be shipped out. Here's the problem that I have with that what hurts me. The car is a cyclical and trendy business. It's people who have money who want the latest, greatest. So if it takes me 3 months to sell those cars now because the system won't allow me to ship them, the new 2021s are coming out, and the cars that I was going to ship that takes a month to get over there anyway are now 4 months old.
Okay.
They don't want them. So now I've paid for the car, I've paid taxes, I've paid for the shipping costs, I've paid for everything, and now I've got to bring those cars back and sell them at a loss because they're used cars now.
I got you. Okay.
You know what I mean? It's killing me. And I thought that it was going to be something that was going to pass over, but nothing in business is logical. If it was logical, then Sam's Club and Aldi and Costco would be the only stores available. Get the most for the least, right? but it's not
Absolutely.
logical. It's emotional. And this is something that's really affected the emotions and the culture of the United States in a way that nothing else has for a long time. When all of us were in school, I was selected to go to the Soviet Union as part of the student ambassador program. I don't know if you remember
Oh,
that, Monica.
real quick. We'll get to that. We'll get to
Go
that.
ahead.
The rest of these questions, bro. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's affecting all business, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to have this show. I wanted for people to gain a little insight as to how it's affecting job creators and whatnot. Next question I
Oh,
have, I think I'm going to start with Miss Mocha on this one. Do you believe that things will go back to normal if the shelter in place orders in your states are lifted before a vaccine is made available to the general public? And why or why not? Now, there is a specific reason why I asked Ms. Mocha to go first, and that's because of a recent article that I came across in the Washington Examiner about the Texas governor, um, which
Yeah.
states the Texas governor prepares executive order setting guidelines to reopen businesses. Texas Governor Greg Abbott plans to unveil an executive order with guidelines to how businesses are to reopen. Abbott held a press conference Friday to announce a forthcoming executive order that sets guidelines for how businesses can begin to reopen amid the coronavirus pandemic. Quote, next week, I will be providing an executive order talking about what will be done in Texas about reopening Texas businesses. Abbott said Friday, economic activity can resume, quote, in a way that will be safe for that economic revitalization. He says, he goes on to say, we will focus on protecting lives while restoring livelihoods. We can and must do this, said Abbott. And the details, again, are not present right now, but should be next week. The thing about it is, on March 19th, however, Abbott issued an order to close certain businesses, including schools, restaurants, bars, and gyms, to limit the spread of COVID-19. And he was quoted then as saying, working together, we must defeat COVID-19 with the only tool that we have available to us. We must strangle this expansion to reduce the ways that we are currently transmitting it. Currently, there are 11,600 confirmed cases of COVID 19 in the state of Texas, with over 200 deaths, according to the New York Times. More than 1.6 million people have tested positive for the coronavirus globally. Of those, at least 101,000 have died from it. More than 371,000 have recovered. The United States has seen at least 426,000 confirmed cases, at least 27,000 have reported recovery, 15,000 deaths. So again, do you believe, Ms. Mo, things will go back to normal if the shelter-in-place order in your state is lifted before a vaccine is made available to the general public? Why or why not?
Um, as far as the vaccine is concerned, I'm sure it's going to take a vaccine to solve some issues as far as a cure or some way to help alleviate the symptoms of the virus. I think until that happens, if an order is lifted, it's going to make things worse. Like you said, I live in Texas. You know, Texas is a red state. Their whole focus is money. So, based on what our governor said, at first he was, on board with. Well, he wasn't always on board with closing everything, but eventually he got with the program, and now here we are again. And I believe it has a lot to do with what um, the president is stating on why he wants to, ease the restrictions on businesses. I think he's just following his lead, and he wants to do that because of the money. I believe their millionaire and billionaire friends are pushing him to open it back up because they're losing money. So if if it's lifted, I just think it's going to be a death sentence to a lot of Texans because our numbers here in El Paso are going up. I mean, it's like it doubled overnight. So for our governor to state that he wants to, ease the restrictions and open up businesses, and they're saying some businesses. I'm just curious as to which businesses that they want to open back up. So that's what we're going to be looking at. Which businesses are they focused on opening back up? Because if you look at it, you have to follow the money. That's probably those are the ones who are in his ear. So I don't think that it's a good idea to do so because, and like you said, but as far as the vaccine is concerned, a vaccine could take a year and a half, and that's what people are concerned about. They're concerned about businesses not opening for a whole year and a half and what that's going to do to the economy. Yes, it's messing up the economy, but at the same time, when it comes to saving, I think saving lives is more important than all of that right now. Does it hurt? Yes. I hate to see my family and friends losing money. I hate to see myself losing money. But when it comes down to saving lives, that's what's more important. And our governor is showing us that if he's, you know, if he wants to just open up all the businesses again, lives don't really matter. So I think it would be a drastic decision, and I think it would be a death sentence, to tell you the truth, if that happens.
I hear you. I hear you. All right, then, Mr. Speichner, same question. Do you believe things will go back to normal if the shelter-in-place orders in your state are lifted before a vaccine is made available to the general public? Why or why not, my brother?
Nope. Life will never be the same. Life won't never go back to the same. When you look at something like that, look at what happened in 9/11. Has life been the same since?
No,
It
not
hasn't
really.
been the same.
All
Here's
right.
another one. Here's another situation where it's going to be life altering. A lot of people are not going to be ready for it. From when you even look at the vaccine isn't here. You know, okay. So I'm quite sure they're probably working on ways to push this vaccine. Or your
Yes.
kids can't go to school unless they have that vaccine. Or you can't
Mhm.
work for us unless you have that vaccine. They might even go so far as to maybe, I don't put nothing past these people when it come down to vaccination, you know, because they might get as far as not to let you on an airplane unless you've been
Hmm.
vaccinated. So, life as will be changing from this point on. It will be, Uh, it's going to be something to see, and this is definitely going to be something that you're always going to remember, you know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right, Mr. Robert Yarbrough, same question. Do you believe things will go back to normal if a shelter-in-place order is lifted here before a vaccine is made available to the general public, bro?
I'm curious to know what you mean by normal, like normal in business or normal our everyday lives. I don't know what
Both,
both.
both.
Yeah, I think things go back to the new normal as it will be. I
Yeah.
think that people
And
have
what would that?
what will that look like? I don't know what that's going to look like at this point. I don't have a crystal ball, but I do know this: every 3, 4, 5, 10 years, or whatever the case may be, since I've been on this little rock, there's been something. Remember Ebola? Remember the flesh-eating bacteria? Remember the West Nile? Remember 9/11, as he so put it? I mean, I worked in the building. I worked at the trade towers, and yeah, for a while, everybody's a little paranoid about things. But then this country has a very short attention span and an even shorter memory. If you don't believe me, think about this. I met my great grandmother who was born a slave. I met a person within my lifetime who was born a slave. And it seems almost impossible to our children that even existed because it's been so long in their memories. I think, yeah, it's going to go back to the new normal because people have a very short attention span and a very short memory. I think will it be detrimental? Yes, it's going to be detrimental. There's going to be a lot of silly things that happen because of it, just like we lost our attention span when 9/11 thing happened, and all of a sudden we started getting domestic violence and bridges blowing up and all kinds of things. The uh, the gentleman who blew up the Boston race afterwards and so forth. Mass shootings. Once it happens, everybody's in an uproar about everything. Oh my God, the virus, the virus. Cover your mouth. Everybody's making these masks and people are washing their hands and everybody's doing a lot of things. But I guarantee you, this time next year, it'll be the new normal. You'll see some more people doing some things, but people will go back to what they were doing before. People are still doing the same things.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. All right, guys. Well, I have my last question of the evening. I want you to give it a little bit of thought. Once this is quote unquote over, and as Robert so eloquently put it, us having the new normal, what changes, if any, will you be making as a business owner in the name of public safety? Let's see. Let's start with Mr. Yarborough.
Well, because I serve the public at restaurants,
Mhm.
um, I was just talking to my partners about this. We went from making sure people wash their hands before they come back to work, to making sure people have gloves on when they come in the kitchen, to making sure they change their gloves every 25 to 30 minutes. And I think now I'm going to ask that all of my employees wear masks. I mean, because bringing these things to light, when you speak, things happen to come out of your mouth. And I think that my kitchen staff is going to wear masks. I think that's going to be something that's different. And I think that the health department eventually is going to change some things like that, and how you are served. You know, standing in line, you can't be right up on people like it is now. I think that's going to remain.
Question for you: in your restaurants, like I was mentioned earlier, in a lot of the stores and gas stations, they have the plexiglass roof. Do you have those as well?
No, I don't think that we're going to do that.
Yeah.
That to me, actually, and I had to learn this by studying health guides and codes and all kinds of things. Once you start to go into it, it's not the same food handling license that you get when you manage or own that you have to do if you just work there. Those services start to make problems worse. Actually, something may not be getting on you. It's like those the kiosks, the new kiosk thing that McDonald's and all these places are putting in their facilities to avoid paying people $15 an hour or whatever it was. Um, they did a study and they said 90% of all McDonald's kiosks showed
Matter, yeah.
fecal matter. So when you have those plexiglass, it's some. How do you clean that? How do you maintain that? How often do you clean that? You get 10 people to come. We get 300 customers a day. Okay, so every hour you get 30 people come through and they're talking on this thing and they're speckling, they're touching it or whatever the case. There's so much bacteria and stuff on that now that becomes a problem. So no, I don't think I'm going to do that. I think it's safer to make sure you have the filters in the air and that kind of stuff than it would be to put the plexiglasses up and stuff.
Okay, okay, that's fair. Well, I want to thank everybody for being a part of this evening. I greatly appreciate it. I think that each one of you definitely brought some insight as to how you're running your business amid this coronavirus pandemic that we're all going through. I think everything that you guys say very relatable. You know, we need more opinions and viewpoints coming from Black people to to share so that others are clear that it's not what you portray us to be. This is who we are. Um, I also want to thank the viewers tonight for checking us out. Next week, I think we're going to do a part 3 of the coronavirus pressing the reset button series, in which we will have who I call the worker bees, those who actually are working for others, hourly workers, to get their points of view and insight on as to how the coronavirus is affecting them. Quick question for each one of you:
Mhm.
the stimulus package, how
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear
stimulus
that.
package. That's
The
part
stimulus
of the
package.
sorry about that.
Okay.
Yeah, the part of the stimulus package is tailored for businesses.
Hmm.
Have each of you been able to take advantage of that? Do you plan to? What are some of the pros and cons you see of that package? Let me start with Miss Mo.
I've taken a look at it. I've actually consulted some of my clients on it, and it's definitely has been beneficial for some of my clients. Some applied for a grant, and they received it, like within the next day. Some applied for the loans that the SBA is offering. For me personally, um, I didn't, because at this time I don't need it, and when it comes down to it, what I would have qualified for would have been to qualify for applying for a loan. But I had to think about that. Is that something I really want to do? Can I afford to keep my office space and pay my bills for now? Yes, I can do that. So I'm not taking advantage of that right now, but a lot of my clients have, and I encourage them too, because they really do need it. Some of them are stylists. Some of them have restaurants. So their businesses really do need it. So I kind of refrain from that right now. And for those who understand that some of them aren't grants, some of them are loans, they are going to have to pay that back. So um, some of them are forgivable loans, true enough, but some of them they're going to have to pay back. So we kind of consulted on that and to see what was best for them, because in the long run, that money has to be paid back. So it's there are some pros and cons to it, and I think everyone should take advantage of the grants if they can. As far as the loans, really think hard about it and possibly get with the financial consultant to find out if it's the best thing for their business. For me, I'm okay right now. Again, my focus is trying to help others, family and friends who have businesses, to make sure the way forward is going to work for them, because some of them just aren't going to be able to open back up, and that's my biggest concern right now.
Okay. Real quick, shameless plug for your company. What's your website? Where can folks find you?
People can find me online. My website, I'm kind of redoing it right now. When you do what I do, you kind of work on everyone else's stuff, and you kind of leave yours behind. But my company is Mocha Enterprises, and it's mochaenterprises.com. And I'm on Facebook. You can find me under Monica Tucker on Facebook or IG.
All right, all right. Thank you very, very much. All right, Mr. Robert Yarborough. Could you take us out with a last comment about your business? Where can folks find you? All your little information that we need.
Um, well, RV's home of the hoagie is our hoagie and fast casual concept. We're in Oswego, Plainfield, Illinois, and on the south side of Chicago, and opening soon in Naperville. And you can find us on the website rvhoh.com. And I think that we're redoing our website. Monica, call me. I got some business for you. And our cleaning service is Hot Mops Cleaning Service, residential and commercial. We clean a lot of. We do a lot of move in, move out, that kind of thing. And you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, website, the whole nine. Oh, Monica, just to explain a little bit about what Monica was saying. These grants and stimulus packages are different for each state.
Yes.
And I know that Illinois did a hospitality thing for a restaurant and hospitality special. They had 12,000 applicants, and it's a lottery system. So they only funded 700.
Right,
So everybody who applied for the grants didn't get the grants. Everything else goes towards the SBA loans.
right.
Gotcha.
If you missed
And
out
then
on the grant, they offer
right,
you the loans, and that's why you have to
right,
be really careful on what you want to choose, on what you
right.
choose.
But there are some. Check your city websites, your city or village websites. There are some cities that are just now, as of yesterday, day before yesterday, passing some smaller grants of their own. City of the village of Oswego just passed a commercial renter. They'll give you $2,500 per month for 2 months if you're renting commercially. the city of Montgomery, all of these smaller cities, and they have funds available, but yet people have to check their village and city websites to find out what's available because they have these programs available to them that are separate from the federal and the state grants and SBA loans, completely separate.
All right, all right. Thank you for the heads up, my brother. Greatly appreciate that. Mr. Mike Speichner, have you been able to take advantage of any part of the stimulus package? If so, has it helped you? If not, why not? And
Well,
tell us
they
a little
have a
bit about
grant
your
out
business
there.
and what you.
They do have a grant out there, but I'm okay. I don't need it.
Yeah.
I've looked at it, and I'm okay. I don't need it. I can go to work, tomorrow if something, is worth me working for. But all in all, a lot of the stuff that's being offered is just not worth me even, you know, putting my equipment on the line. So, but all in all, they do have a $10,000 grant out here. I know a friend of mine who's applying for it. But me,
Okay.
I haven't really read up on it. And besides, I'm okay. I'll be all right. I'm okay.
Okay, then. Well, thanks again to all of my guests, and thank you to everyone that's tuned in. Join me next week when we will have our next podcast, and we out of here, y'all. Good night, everyone.
Right. Thank you for having
Monica,
us.
Okay.
call me,
You guys have a
Monica,
blessed
call
day.
me. You too. God bless. Thanks a lot, Andre. Bye bye.
All right.
Right,
Bye.
guys.